Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Laser Haas here. Everybody keeps asking me why I'm fighting for the eToys case, and the simple analogy is if Al Capone is told by the feds not to rob a bank, that Frank Nitti is hanging around, and the feds go to lunch, and Frank Nitti robs the bank, and the feds come out of lunch, and they're walking by the bank, and the manager, who happened to be me of eToys, comes running out and tells the feds, hey, you told them not to rob the bank, and they're robbing it. And the feds laugh. When the robbers come out and they talk to the robbers and they talk to the manager, they put the manager in handcuffs, have SWAT chase after him, and toss the keys of the vault to Frank Nitti and Al Capone. Should that manager just give up the ghost and quit and let everybody be robbed? Again, that's rhetorical. Hell no. Anyway, the whole point is Goldman Sachs took eToys public in 1999 for $85 a share, but eToys got less than $20 a share. Instead of getting $1 billion or many billions of dollars if they had allocated more shares, Goldman Sachs reduced the allocation from 20 million down to 8 million, giving up $1.50 a share on 12 million shares of stock because they were going to make more money by a kickback scheme, which is described in this New York Times March 2013 article, Rigging the IPO Game, which is about eToys, where eToys stock, it settled at $77 a share, but it went to as much as 85. The difference between, let's say, 80, because what he proved, Joe Nacera, is that Lawton Fitz executive, Goldman Sachs executive, made email bets that she knew the stock would hit 80, which it did. It went to 85 and 87, depending on the article you read. But for sure, it hit 80. And the eToys shareholders, the eToys public company, instead of getting billions of dollars, only got 160 million. With two 1 million square foot warehouses and expecting billions of dollars, they were in a hurt. But what made the hurt worse is Goldman Sachs was hired to handle the management of the company. Now, the problem with that is the lawyers for Goldman Sachs were Morris, Nichols, Arsht, and Tunnell, and Colm Connolly, and Greg Werkheiser. Now, the problem is Colm Connolly became the U.S. attorney over the case, saying there was no fraud case. And Morris, Nichols, and Arsht and Tunnell kept protecting Goldman Sachs and Bain Capital through Colm Connolly from indictments. When Morris, Nichols, Arsht, and Tunnell, MNAT.com, was hired to be my lawyer, an eToys lawyer, and there's Colm Connolly's resume, by the way, from the Department of Justice Office of Legal Policy, anybody can see, proves that Colm Connolly was a partner of MNAT. And again, the problem with that is that MNAT was secretly representing Goldman Sachs and Bain Capital, doing lies, perjury under oath, in conjunction with Paul Traub, who Paul Traub was fraudster partners with Tom Petters, Mark Dreyer, and Bain Capital at Stage Stores, who became the creditor's attorney for Mattel that made sure nobody would outbid Bain Capital for eToys. And this is how Bain Capital, through the bankruptcies of KB Toys, FAO Schwartz, Zany, Brainy, on, wound up having enough money to buy Toys R Us. And we all know what happened to Toys R Us. When Joe Nacera did his article, Rigging the IPO Game, and reported on the eToys case, Bain Capital, owned by Mitt Romney at the time that eToys was going on, Mitt Romney claims that he left Bain Capital in 1999 and had nothing to do with any way whatsoever with Bain Capital after that, and we proved that that was a lie. And that's what Obama's presidential campaign focused on. But Mitt Romney, Bain Capital, MNAT, Paul Traub, and Goldman Sachs helped deplete the entire major retail toy industry. Zany, Brainy, FAO Schwartz, Gymboree, Jumbo Sports, Stage Stores, all bankrupt and gone. A monopoly owned by Bain Capital, bled out, bankrupt, and destroyed, so that Bain Capital and Goldman Sachs could keep the $5 billion with Mattel that they fleeced the shareholders of Mattel and eToys. And again, it's improper that lawyers protect each other, stabbing the back of their court-approved clients, including Colm Connolly, who stabbed my back as a partner in the MNAT law firm because he was assistant U.S. attorney. If you look at his resume, he was the assistant U.S. attorney from 1992 to 1999 after clerking for Walter K. Stapleton, who also was a partner of Morris, Nichols, Arsht, and Tunnell. Then in 1999, when eToys got defrauded of $1 billion and Mattel stockholders got defrauded of $4 billion, that's when Colm Connolly became a partner of MNAT. That's how you hide the quid pro quo bribery. Who can argue how much a U.S. attorney or federal prosecutor is worth? He stayed there from 1999 until August 2nd, 2001, which is when I reported the bribery offer by MNAT, Morris, Nichols, Arsht, and Tunnell, who is Goldman Sachs lawyer, and Paul Traub, who is a secret Bain Capital, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs guy, and partner in Ponzi schemes across the country. But Paul Traub was Mattel creditors' lawyer. Now Mattel, as a merger of the learning company with Mattel that was handled by MNAT in Delaware, where they lost the $4 billion by Cook Books fraud, Mattel now has Stage Store's Bain Capital Mitt Romney attorney being the attorney for the creditors in Goldman Sachs, for the creditors of eToys, arguing that Goldman Sachs and Bain Capital did no wrong. So much so that after MNAT forged my resignation papers, when I turned down and reported the bribe to Colm Connolly, they forged my resignation papers and replaced me with Barry Gold, who was Paul Traub's partner, and paid for by Paul Traub's law firm of Traub, Bonnequist, and Fox. Now, MNAT and Traub confessed this in 2005, but I did not know that Colm Connolly was the U.S. attorney because his underlings, Ellen Slites, Andrews, and Stark, were the ones that were telling me there was no crime. Well, here's the funny thing. Morris, Nichols, Arsht, and Tunnell, Colm Connolly, and Mary Ellen Noriega, Stark, and Andrews are the 4 federal judges in Delaware. It's all the same gang. Out of 50,000 employees, not employees, lawyers, legal professors, judges, and so forth in Delaware, the 4 federal judges are all part of the same crooked gang that blocked the eToys case and KB case and Mattel case from being prosecuted, indicted, and people in jail, who benefited Goldman Sachs and Bain Capital, nationally rewarded them more than they would have gotten had they just been eToys' lawyer. Now, on top of that, after they locked me out, Barry Gold and Morris, Nichols, Arsht, and Tunnell nominated Paul Traub to be the one to sue Goldman Sachs on behalf of eToys, the creditors, and the shareholders. These guys blocked the shareholders from having an equity committee while benefiting from perjury. And then when the New York Supreme Court of Appeals ruled that my case could be reopened in January 2013, that's when these guys rushed to settle the eToys v. Goldman Sachs case being handled by Paul Traub, Morris, Nichols, Arsht, and Tunnell, and Paul Traub's partner replacing me as president and CEO of eToys, Barry Gold. And those guys all said that each other didn't do nothing, right? And anybody that says that how fat I am, how old I am, how much of school I went to, how long I was CEO, whether I was a truck driver, security guard, or janitor is more important than the crimes that these people did, has to be a shill or a troll, paid or unpaid, brown-nosing the organized crime, racketeering, and corruption of Goldman Sachs, Bain Capital, Mitt Romney, Paul Traub, MNAT, and the gang. At least at the barest of minimums, I'm entitled to a court hearing to present evidence, but the judge in the eToys case ordered the clerk never to allow me to file anything. And how they arranged that is Morris, Nichols, and Paul Traub persuaded me to have my corporation hired instead of me being named technically the CEO, to put my CEO cards in the desk because it would cost more money for SEC new filings, and to hire Barry Gold to be the one to sue Goldman Sachs in New York Supreme Court, which I agreed to do because I had tens of thousands of computers, equipment, forklifts, pallet jacks, and all other things that didn't have labels on them. I had to identify to give back to the people that owned it or to sell for the estate auction sales. And the inventory, the warehouse management software system, Morris, Nichols, Arsht, and Tunnell put in a request to the court that Paul Traub, as creditors counsel, didn't object to destroy eToys books and records. So they yanked out the inventory counting system, and I had to count $40 million of inventory without any computer records. We had to hand get each computer file and re-enter it in order to try to run a count of the inventory. At the end of the day, they had planned to sell it to Bain Capital for $5.4 million, but they got mad at me and tried to bribe me, and I reported it because it went to, the bids were in the tens of millions of dollars, including $10 million for the eToys.com domain name and the 3 million customers that we had that Toys R Us, Bain, and KB didn't have put together. It's a major Wall Street fraud crime, and they've infiltrated the Department of Justice, both at the prosecutor level and now at the judge's level. And Colm Connolly and Mary Ellen Noriega and Stark and Andrews, all part of the gang that buried our eToys case, are the 4 federal judges presiding over the Boston Consulting Group suing GameStop. And if you didn't know, Paul Traub and Mitt Romney were at Neostar that became GameStop. There's too many crimes going on, and as long as you let these guys believe that they'll never be investigated and prosecuted and can retaliate and intimidate victims and witnesses, by the way, there's more than a dozen dead in my case, including people directly connected to me and Colm Connolly, then there is no justice system. We should all get guns. And I don't believe in that. I believe that there's got to be somebody out there in the system of justice that cares what's going on. We can't let Romney, Traub, Morris, Nichols, Arsht, and Tunnell, Colm Connolly, Goldman Sachs, and Bain Capital get away with billions of dollars in fraud. It's just not right, people.